A warm welcome to all of you and a heartfelt namaste. I, Anuradha, would like to thank all of you for writing in your comments, your suggestions on our YouTube and Spotify channel, and liking, sharing, and subscribing to these channels. If you have not subscribed to our Spotify channel, please do, so that you can listen to all the videos in their audio form anytime, any place. Today, we are going to talk about a unique concept of Apoklima houses. What are the Apoklima houses? In the natural Kalpurush Kundali, the signs of Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and the Pisces constitute together the Apoklima houses. And in your chart and my chart, the third house, the sixth house, the ninth house, and the 12th house together form a group called the Apoklima houses. So, what are the characteristics of the Apoklima houses? Well, as in the Kalpurusha Kundali, the four signs of Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces forming the Apoklima houses fall under the dual signs. So very much so, similarly, in our charts, these houses show or reflect the tendencies of the dual houses. The dual houses are very adaptable by nature. They have the ability to understand a situation and work according to the situation. These dual houses also show a lot of flexibility and sensitivity in assessing any situation. These are also known as the houses of change. And as such, they are good when supposing we have expansion in our factory and I would like to employ somebody. Typically, if it's a big factory, big project, and somebody who believes in charts would want to consult a person that whether a person having such and such chart is good at it. I would just like to see the lagna. If the lagna falls in any of the adaptable houses signs, or if if the fifth house falls in a sign where it is the dual sign, then I would always prefer such a person, because this person is open to accepting things and modifying things. So modification is another one of the things that these Apoklima houses show. On the flip side, we will discuss later the question of unreliability or being very impressionable, insecure, or indecisive. But that comes when there is a malefic aspect or malefic planets, very strong malefic effects on these houses. Otherwise, the amount of adaptability that a person can show is beautiful. The third house typically talks about our thought process. It talks about the artistic influence that we have in life, and it also talks about the courage. So these things are changeable and these things are adaptable, especially in art. Art needs to keep growing and we need to keep bringing in change in our lives. We've seen over the centuries, art changes, art form changes, and they grow, and it grows better and bigger every season. So a person who has an artistic temperament needs to have a strong third house. Again, the sixth house. The sixth house talks about your discretionary power. It talks about your ability to be able to match up with your co-employees or employers. So if you have a good sixth house, you are adaptable with people you're working with. And also, if your sixth house is strong, say you have a Jupiter sitting here, because sixth house is also Pradab. So if you have a Jupiter sitting in your sixth house, then it gives you the wisdom to be able to be discreet, to know how to tackle the problems of your life and come out victorious of it. And on that, we have made a video of Jupiter in the sixth house. Then we talk about the ninth house. The ninth house is higher learnings. The ninth house is truth. The ninth house is tradition. So when we want to traditionally study something in deeper, understand the meaning of things and come out with the basic truth, we have to have the attitude of acceptance of what we see. And we also need to understand that we need to be able to change our ideas and our mental framework as and when we come across more and more facts. The 12th house is supposed to be the house of giving. The 12th house is supposed to be the house of letting go. The 12th house is the house of moving into a place which is secluded and more to connect with the Lord above. So a mental framework which is adaptable to being alone from others, a mental framework which is ready to give to others, is very important when we have good planets in the 12th house. So these houses are very strongly connected with how our mental facilities work. Second thing, these houses are adaptable. But there is because if there is a lot of adaptability, constant change in a person's life, the person would be very unsettled, very insecure, and at times be timid. So if there is a lot of malefic influences on these houses, then also timidity or insecurity can be a very strong factor in a person's life. Let us also explore what other points these Apoklima houses have to point towards us. The third house is typically communication, also the ninth house, because the ninth house talks about being able to deliver the truth rightly and correctly. So communication falls a very important point in the Apoklima houses. Again, having effective problem solving abilities. The sixth house, as we said, is the house of discretion, where you understand how to solve the obstacles that come in your way. The third house is the house of communication and also courage, having the courage, the conviction to stand tall on your orders. And the ninth house talks about justice. It talks about what is right and what is not. And then the third house would follow suit and help. There comes a time when we need to learn to let go. So these methods of problem solving are very much part of the Apoklima house, whereas easy transition from one phase of life to another is what the dual signs as a group show. Because when we are changing seasons also, we see that the dual signs play a very effective role in the change of seasons. And that is why the sixth house and the ninth house are also said to be the houses of ill health, because they fall under the sign of dual sign, where the immunity can be at a low and people can be prone to illness. Again, as I said earlier, if there's Mars in the third house, we know that the person is confident. If there is Jupiter in the sixth house, we know that the person is very calm and effective in doing a lot of control. And when people have planets in dual signs, they have an open mind frame wherein they can accept the views of others, except for Mercury. When Mercury is in a dual house, a person is constantly flipping between ideas and can have too much of ideas, or can absorb too much to be able to concentrate on something just once. As we move ahead, we see that, as I said, the person is open to new views of others and is also open to new trends. The person does not always stay in traditional outlooks, but has the courage, the artistic approach to what is new and to accept that newness. Again, a person would not be very rigid because the person is open to trend, open to new ideas, would be open to a lot of change in their thought process also. And this makes a person extremely productive. The third house is the house of doing things. The sixth house again is the house of doing things by your own hands, be it your work, household work, outside work, any work. So that gives you an ability to be productive. When we are open to new things, when open to more experimentation, life becomes more beautiful and productive. And the 3, 6, 9, 12 houses help us do so. The third house is courage and conviction. The sixth house is the house of obstacles. And the ninth house is the house of telling the truth. When we are under a pressure, we need all these factors: being truthful, standing up to our values, having the courage and the conviction to work for our discretion. So these people who have planets in 3, 6, and 9 houses and the 12th house have the ability to work and deliver under pressure. There's just one case that I'd like to share with you here, and that is that of Hrithik Roshan. Hrithik Roshan is a person who has suffered from a lot of impediments, or rather he had stammering issues. He was not very confident of his body. He had illnesses. As I told you, typically the 6th and the 9th, 12th house also shows a lot of illnesses. And he has a planet in the sixth house also, which also as a Lagna Lord aspects the Lagna also. So we see that the third house, where his Venus is retrograde, which is also the 12th Lord. So there is the connection between the 12th Lord and the third house and the 12th house also, and sixth and the ninth house also harbor a planet. So a lot of planets in his chart. He had communication issues. He was, as a child, not very strong in the constitution, but he learned to be brave. He learned to improve on his skills, as the Jupiter in the third house, the second lord of talking in his third house of communication, is present. Again, Mars gives him the strength and the discretion to go ahead, fight out the diseases, because as a Lagna Lord, aspecting the Lagna, it gave him the ability to fight his problems and his diseases and to come out very strong. The ninth moon is a moon that is growing, and it is a moon which is in Pushya Nakshatra, which gave him the ability to learn and to come out victorious and be focused about his career. So we see that the 3, 6, 9 and the 12th houses, Apoklima houses, are not just the houses which can be ignored, but they teach us a lot. Our courage, our conviction, our ability to take the right path and speak the truth and let go of things when they are of no use in our lives come from these set of houses. We can fairly enough say that we would not be a complete person without these set of houses. If you have planets in these houses, do write to us. Let us know how you feel they work for you and how this video has told you what you can do with your own lives. Till then, take care. Stay safe.
बेल आइकन को दबाएं ताकि आपको वीडियोस की अपडेट मिलती रहे। हमारे वीडियोस को लाइक करें, शेयर करें, उन पर कमेंट करें और हमारे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करें।